Welcome, everybody! Geek Dad reports continuing coverage of the greatest show ever to grace your television, or according to everyone on Twitter after this week, the worst show to ever grace your television, Game of Thrones. And tonight we're going to be talking about episode 4 of season 8, The Last of the Starks, and Starbucks cups, apparently.
And HBO has ruined everything George R. R. Martin has ever written, and they're the worst people in the whole world, according to the internet. So,
according to the internet's a real a-hole. That's all I know. But
only George can save the series if he just finishes book.
Listen, everyone, before we dive into tonight's episode, and clearly we are kind of tongue-in-cheek in this, we're going to be talking a lot about this episode, so full spoilers. If you have not watched The Last of the Starks, we recommend that you go watch it and come back, because we are going to be diving into everything, including a lot of the fan backlash. I mean, this is the final season. I think everyone was prepared for the fact that people were just not going to be happy with how this ended.
Yeah, and everybody had their theories locked in, ready to go, and they were not going to be dissuaded when they were proved wrong.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we talked about it last week. A lot of people were really angry. I think the anger really started last week's episode, and it really just hit a fever pitch this week.
It's snowballing right now.
And there's 2 more episodes left that some people have sworn they're never watching another episode of Game of Thrones. Which at this point, I'm like, why? Even if you don't like the show, there's literally only 2 episodes left.
You made it all the way until there's 2 episodes left, and you said, no, I am done now.
I am absolutely done with this show. I mean, listen, whatever. Everyone can draw their line in the sand wherever they want to, but I feel like it's pretty silly if you've made it this far to give up on it yet. But, a lot of us didn't know if they were going to be, if the Benioff and Weiss were going to be able to stick the landing. And in some ways they are doing it in some ways. We'll talk about some of that tonight, but so we're going to talk about all the good, the bad, and the fun that was fun and head scratching that was the Last of the Starks. So yes. You have been warned. But first up, let's talk Ryan, about where this episode starts off with a lot of people getting burnt. We start with the complete aftermath of Winterfell, the Battle of Winterfell, and there's a lot of dead bodies.
Yes, more dead bodies than you would probably. I think they probably could have had bigger piles, honestly.
I do think it's pretty jacked up, too, that, like, all the no-name people, all the red shirts, they were stacked in, like, pyramid-sized piles. Yes. But, like, if you're a lord or somebody important to the show, you got your own bed of logs. Yes,
but, like, just enough logs to, like, hopefully cremate. I mean, I don't think that. So if you think about it, like when they cremate a body these days, they have a big giant concrete vault thing that gets to like 4 million degrees, and then they shove the body in there and it cremates it.
Yes.
These funeral pyres are not going to be cremating any bodies or doing anything other than just burning the skin and probably just
I don't know. There was definitely more reoccurring talk about the smell of dead burning bodies on this episode that I was really like, we don't need all this.
Yes.
Because I mean, they go from burning bodies immediately to eating dinner, and they're all like, I can still smell the bodies. And you're like, ugh.
The steak sure does smell like Fred.
But I had a couple of questions. One, right after they burn all the bodies, they kind of have, at some point in the episode, they decide to get around this map where they talk about, strategy of what they're going to do next. And they're kind of breaking down their losses. And for the most part, they lost around half their army. I feel like that number is way too low.
Yeah.
They still have Dothraki. How do they still have Dothraki? Because they're like, Dothraki, half. And I'm like, half? What do you mean half? How about all?
So when all of the swords went out, they just like
ran away.
Like, it's like the match, that got to the point where it just couldn't stay lit anymore, but they were still out there fighting.
Is that why Ghost had half of his like face burn off and half of his fur? Even Ghost got half of him taken away.
Yeah, Ghost looked terrible.
Ghost looked awful. I was like, man, I mean, I guess they're like, he survived, but he's missing an ear. His whole hindquarters got no fur anymore. But we're gonna talk about Ghost in a minute though, so I don't want to get too much into Ghost. Yeah. But so one, I thought it was a little ridiculous that they'd only lost. I mean, like if you watch the Battle of Winterfell, I mean there was so many dead people. Like people just getting like I would have assumed they've lost 80% of their forces, but and two, it seemed like it'd only been a couple days since the battle. How the hell did they get all that wood?
They're not chopping down the gods' wood, that's for sure.
I mean, I get it that they're surrounded by forests, but the manpower it would take to chop down that. I mean, like, you just survived the day. You're really going to go chop, like, enough logs so that you could build that many. I mean,
you can't just use, like, giant trees and just, like, all right, we'll just light these on fire. Like, no, you got to, like, season that wood. You got to let it dry out.
Let's be real. You're going to start one fire and you're just going to start chucking bodies on it.
Yeah.
You're going to have a giant heap of burning bodies.
Why didn't you just use the dragon to, start fires? I mean, just...
No, I never thought of that. Really what they should have done is just line them all up and then let the dragon just barbecue them all.
Yeah. And then when nobody's looking, the dragon can just pull away a couple snacks.
But, I mean, this is a small complaint. I wasn't even complaining. I was just watching this going like, that's the first thing I said. It's this super serious moment, and I'm like, where the hell did they get all this wood?
Yeah. And my first thought was, that is not enough wood.
That's not enough. There's going to be a lot of bones floating around everywhere.
You're going to have a lot of, like, bodies that have only been 90% burnt.
Ghost is going to be out there. He's just going to be in heaven. He's going to be walking, dragging, got femurs just dragging around, chewing on them. But, it was a touching scene. It gave us a chance to kind of mourn the few people that we cared about. And, whatever.
Whatever.
I mean, I didn't really care. They had to burn all the bodies.
They showed some people for the last time.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it was cool just to see all the funeral pyres built and stuff, but whatever. Yeah. But immediately they immediately go to this dinner party, which the dinner party had a lot of humor. There was so many good jokes floating around. And then it was just also kind of awkwardly weird.
Yeah. So what I want people to do, though, is to at least go back to the funeral or go back to the party and then turn on closed captions.
Oh, really?
Yes, because there's a lot of, like, side chatter. It's like when after, if we wanted to say, Gendry, he's at the party, he's having a good time, and he walks off. And the party wasn't, bustling or anything at that point. And Daenerys, says, hey, why would you want to, be the Lord of Storm's End?
Yeah.
And he said, well, I'm still a bastard. And she goes, no, you're a Baratheon now.
Yeah. Well, so when she decided to give Gendry an official title and not make him, legitimize him, did you think she was gonna like decide at that moment to be a total asshole, or do you think did you catch on like right away that's what she was planning on doing?
I think I had an idea of what she was planning on doing.
I will say, like, she's gonna work on her tone. Like Gendry is pretty sure shit his pants.
You set him up for third in line.
Yeah, that's true. I swear to God, if this show
says, oh, your father, the king that just died.
If this show legit.
You're now legitimate.
If the end of this show is Gendry on the Iron Throne, and literally we start with the Baratheon and end with the Baratheon, I'm done. If all of this was for absolutely nothing, other than like the entire death of everybody in Westeros, I'm over.
But to tie in the closed captioning, there's a whole bunch of people in the background that are like, one guy said, "That's it. That's all you have to do."
That's funny.
So. It's good. Turn on the captioning sometimes.
So, I mean, it was a cool moment for Gendry. We got, he's a character that everyone's kind of liked. I mean, he's never really been a main character, but it was cool to see. I don't think there are any bastards left in Westeros. They've all been legitimized at some point. But, I mean...
and it gave Gendry a lot of courage to try, to go seek out Arya.
Yeah, okay, so we'll get back. We'll get back because I want to talk more about the banquet in a second. But yeah,
okay.
So his first move, Gendry's first move after becoming Lord of Storm's End, is to go down and propose to Arya, who he literally just had sex with like a week ago.
He's like, fuck this party. I'm just shooting my arrow at some target.
I mean,
And
I know they were friends before they had sex, but like, you did it like one time, and now you're like, come on, man. Arya, yeah. When you're down, when you go to find Arya and she's just like legit just trying to practice her murder skills, might not be the best time. Maybe that's your first sign that she does not want to be your wife. That dude has got to learn to read a room better.
she's just not into you, man.
I will say, Arya, to her credit, she let him down really easy. She could have just been like laughed and left.
Yeah, but what do you give his proposal? What kind of a rate on a scale of 1 to 10?
I give it like a 3. It was oozing desperation. Like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. Be my wife and handle everything.
No, I'm gonna give it at least a solid 7.
I mean, he 7?
Was in it. He wasn't like.
He basically said, "Listen, I'm this lord. I have no idea what I'm doing. I really need you to like handle all this business for me."
Excited that he's a legitimate Baratheon now. He's going to be the Lord of frickin' Storm's End, which is a giant, massive castle built by Brandon.
Dude, Gendry was reeking of desperation. His new name is Gendry the Desperate because.
I think it was more like he was just excited and happy. He just wanted to, share it, have her to share
listen,
it.
I get it, and I understand him having feelings for Arya. They've been friends, but still, man, like, that is the most, like, rushed proposal I've ever seen. You go in and you got to go with some confidence and be like, hey, you got to throw in a feeler. You'd be like, I got a castle. What do you feel about maybe living there with me? What do you think about that?
You want to live in a place where it's really stormy all the time?
And then when Arya kind of looks around and shoots another arrow, you're like, or not, that's cool.
she rejects them. And not only rejects them, but just turns around and goes back to practicing her murdering skills.
Can I just say that this show did feature in this episode some very good... there was a couple rejections of men by ladies, and both men were very good examples of how you handle rejection. You don't lose your mind and get angry and act like an insane person. You just say, oh, okay, that's cool. And you move on with your life.
Yeah, especially when they're a big woman. That's reject.
Which leads us to, Gendry got humiliated and then in his own mind. And then it leads us to Tormund. Poor sweet Tormund. I think he finally...
talk about his woman that he loves. He wants to have big, beautiful, giant children.
I think all of us wanted to see him and Brienne hook up just because the memes were so great online, but we all knew that was a doomed relationship.
Yes. Especially how seeing his enthusiasm when she got knighted, he knew his heart was going to get broken.
Yeah, but that's okay. You know what? Tormund never wanted to linger too long, found himself a couple Winterfell ladies, and decided to go have a party of his own, making. But Brienne, I don't know, did you think that her and Jaime were going to hook up? It was a little strange that Tyrion, like, they were playing this fun game, and then he just immediately calls her out for being a virgin, which seemed like a weird turn.
Well, you got to remember, though, Tyrion's a dick. I mean,
that's true.
And he likes to play his drinking game, and he's just going to be a dick.
So that was like the Westerosi version of, like, I've Never, where you try and get people to admit the shit that they don't want to admit to. Yeah. I mean, I really liked... I think the Jaime Brienne hookup, I don't know if it's in the book or not. I don't, did it need to happen? No, but I thought it was really sweet. I thought it was cool. And it sets us up for the gut-wrenching, like, turn that we get with Jaime again. I mean, I know this happens a little bit later, but let's talk about Jaime for a second. So we've gotten 8 seasons of Jaime being a dick, trying to be redeemed, then kind of going back to being a dick and then redeeming himself again, only for in the very end for him to really reveal his true colors and yep, I'm a total dick. I'm leaving you.
And it's all because he can't quit Cersei.
Now, I know some people think that he was trying to do the honorable thing and like, oh, I'm just going to go down and I'm going to handle my sister. I did not get that at all. I got the whole like, I cannot quit Cersei. And honestly, I am not a good person.
He's the one guy at the end of Brokeback Mountain that's got the shirt hanging up of Cersei, and he just keeps smelling it.
At the end of the day, is Cersei like a virus in his soul? Yes, but he still he always chooses to stay with her and to be with her, right? So I think of this, I actually thought it was really fitting for Game of Thrones. I think this is why some people are having a hard time with the show right now is the last few seasons, we've got a lot of really good stuff, a lot of things we wanted. In fact, people complained so much about how we were getting so many good things. We got to see, Dany ride dragons and obliterate armies and the people we liked lived. And now all of a sudden we're going back to the season 1, 2, and 3 of Game of Thrones where all the things that we want, we're no longer getting. Sorry, surprise, Jaime really is an asshole.
That guy's a jerk, and this person's going to die, and you're just going to have to deal with it. I think it's just that, like you were saying, people were getting used to not having to deal with the bad stuff on the show.
And ultimately, it makes you mad because this show has played with our hearts. Because this show has taken a character who is so vile and made you really love him as a character and root for him to be good, only to find out really at the end of the day he's only ever done a couple of good things in his life and is a bad person, and he even admits as much.
Yeah, and he wants to still be with the worst person.
Well, and I think, him with Brienne, it's like I think deep down he thought he could love somebody else. And then he finally got Brienne and realized it didn't matter. He could not get rid of Cersei. Brienne was, even though he does, I do think he cares about Brienne. And I do think I do still think there's a scenario where Jaime does kill his sister. But I just think that he cannot. The show did what he always does. He always goes back to Cersei. He has said so many times, "I would do whatever it takes to get back to Cersei," and he did. He had his chance. He had his chance, looking at him right in the face to have a happy ending with a woman he respected, with a life that he could be proud of. And once again, he turns away and goes back to Cersei.
Yeah, because he knows that she's a monster and that no matter what, he's going to be by her side.
Well, and honestly, I think deep down he knows he's a monster too. Mm-hmm. One or two good deeds does not clear your soul for a lifetime of doing the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. So there we go. And I know people weren't exactly happy about that turn because there's just... You know what? To me, this feels like a George R.R. Martin turn. This feels like this is what's going to happen in the books.
Well, and it's just a continuing thing for Brienne. She's always just going to be getting her heart broken.
Oh, I didn't even think about that, but that is a character arc for God. And that's the hard part, man. Is like I feel so bad for Brienne. She finally got everything she wanted, and then she finally lets her guard down and trusts somebody who she cares about, and once again gets her heart ripped out. Right. Mm-hmm. It's just sad. So I got a question. Do you think we're going to see Brienne again? So I got a very distinct feeling in this episode that we are not going to see some of these characters again. When Jon and Sam said goodbye and Tormund said he's going to go north and take Ghost, I don't think we're going to see them again.
I definitely don't think we're going to see Tormund and Ghost. I don't think we're going to... I think we might catch a glimpse of Sam. Maybe... Did he stay in Winterfell, or did he go...
It wasn't clear, but, I think we could have a...
Maybe he's going to be, reading the books or something like that, and then he's going to, find something out and then check with Bran, and Bran's going to do the whole, zooming through time thing. And
I definitely think we're going to get... Yeah, I definitely think that's actually a good possibility where Bran's going through and we get to see different characters, how their lives are moving on forward that are still alive.
The next big reveal thing is that Sam's going to find something and Bran's going to confirm it.
We'll see Ghost run through the north. I'm just at the end of this, but yeah, I think there's a scenario. I still think we've talked about that. We all believe that Sam is writing the story, Song of Ice and Fire, right? And he'll probably be reading it to Little John. Mm-hmm. At the end. But yeah, I definitely got to. I really thought some of these characters would be all the way to the end. But yeah, that was one thing that took me back watching this. I feel like we're never going to see some of these characters again.
Yeah, and we're not going to see them because not that they didn't die, it's just that the story
their story is officially done, right? It's moved to somewhere else. How does that? So it's a little anticlimactic, but how did that feel? Is it weird knowing we know that okay, Sam's probably going to live through this whole thing. Gilly's going to live. Tormund is going to live. Ghost is going to live.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling, isn't it?
It is, because in essence, they basically took half the characters and now said these characters... who knows? Anything could happen in the next two episodes, but I felt like this is the last appearance. And as far as Tormund, I mean, the actor said he thought this was a great way for Tormund to leave the show. So I'm guessing that means Tormund, we're never going to see Tormund again. Yeah, which is just... Most of us either... You know what's funny is most of us, I think, accepted that these characters would either die or be part of the end game. I don't think any of us anticipated that they would just be like, shake hands and leave.
All right, good luck trying to finish the rest of your fighting.
And
go back north.
You have to go to deal with the final boss on your own, right? I didn't expect that. Yeah. Let's talk about Ghost too, since we're talking about Tormund going back north. Jon tells Tormund to take Ghost. I mean, this is clearly, on one hand, it's cool that Ghost is going to live through all this whole thing. I don't think anybody wanted to see Ghost die. On the other hand, it's kind of sad. We never really got any of the cool direwolf stuff in this. I mean...
Yeah. The Starks are like almost telepathically linked with their direwolves, since like that. There's a strong, intense connection of mutual feeling and stuff like that. And Jon and Jon and Ghost clearly had that.
It was so hard because the first couple seasons of the show, when they were just big dogs, they were such an integral part of the show. And then once it became too expensive to render, they just became like footnotes. And it just, I don't know. I mean, I'm glad Ghost is alive, but it just sucks that he never really was part of the story once he became a giant direwolf. And we didn't even get to see Jon hug him because it was they couldn't quite get the CGI right. It was too hard and too expensive. So they just had him look at Ghost and write off. And I was just like, what is this?
And if you, again, listen to the show or watch the show in closed captioning, it just said Ghost whimpering and whining. And it was like...
That's basically what happened. He put his head down and he knew. Like you said, they're telepathic, so at least it seemed like they were, so Ghost knew. But, I mean, whatever. I mean, who knows? We might see him again, but I just felt like that was... I'm glad he lived, but it's just unceremoniously end to the fantasy elements of the show.
I feel bad enough if I leave my house without petting my dog on the head or something like that and saying, good boy, have a good day.
And also considering,
outside Castle Black, from the White.
Yeah. Well, I mean, considering we lose another animal here later in this episode, which we're going to talk about in a minute, I mean, it just seemed, I don't know, it seemed like you could have found the budget to at least let Ghost get a big hug and a good attaboy from Jon. But whatever. All right, so let's get into the meat and potatoes of this episode. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about, other than we're gonna talk about the Starks, what the name of this episode is, and basically Jon and Dany, which and then the last head scratching 20 minutes of this episode. All right, so first we get Jon and Dany finally dealing with the aftermath of Jon's reveal to her that he's her nephew and he's in line for the throne. With Dany pleading with him to not tell anybody, and Jon's like, well, I've got to tell my family, and she's like, if you tell anybody, it'll never work. He's like, well, I want this to work, and she's like, well, I've told you how. Don't tell anybody.
Yeah, and he's like, but my family is really good at being quiet about things.
It was very strange, too, when she was saying this, too. Did you get the feeling like part of her is because she desperately wants it to work with Jon, but the other part is because she knows that once Jon tells...
Put the sexy times on them. I mean...
Well, I think there's a desperation to her that one was like, I don't want you... If you do this, we're never going to be together and we're going to end up being enemies. And also, two, if you do this, my claim to the throne goes away. So please don't do this.
Well, and I've read and heard some other stuff saying that for Dany, it's when she's growing up with the knowing the story of Targaryens where their interfamily marriage was extremely common and stuff like that. So for her it just doesn't faze her. But for Jon, who grew up where it's like, dude, you don't bang your aunt.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of what we'll talk a little bit more in a second with Tyrion and Varys, when they basically said as much, like, oh, they can get married, and Varys is like, he lived up north. Is that common up north? And Tyrion's like, not really.
Yeah.
But and then I thought it was funny. So, Jon does the whole Jon Snow, I know nothing. And immediately was like, okay. And then like next time he sees his family, Arya and Sansa, he just tells them. Well, he tells Bran to tell him.
Yeah. It's like, oh, Bran has something to say.
Which, first he makes them, swear that they won't tell anybody, which of course Sansa immediately tells everyone.
Yeah. She goes to Tyrion.
And, and then Tyrion tells Varys, and now literally everybody knows Jon's secret, and everything Dany said would happen is immediately happening within like 3 minutes of him telling her.
Well, and then like when Tyrion talks to Varys about it, and he says, well, how many people know? And Tyrion says 8, and goes, all right, so it's probably the number's going to be closer to 100.
Yeah, and he's like, and then everyone will know.
And before that, it's just going to be, everywhere. So
it was jarring. It was jarring how fast people heard that Jon was Aegon and how, like, insanely fast everyone immediately started turning on Dany.
Yeah. Like, and especially people within her sphere, within her inner circle.
All of them. I mean, except for her most loyal. She has 2 people really loyal to her left, and Grey Worm and Missandei. And, yeah, well, we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
So, and now Varys is already like, he basically is like, I'm out on Dany. He's once again saying, I got to do what's in the best interest of the realm. But I don't know why they think.
And Tyrion, you can just tell he's just torn apart.
Yeah,
because he loves Dany, and he's just torn apart by this.
He loves Dany, but part of him thinks that Jon would be the better king, and then he doesn't want to betray his family. It's just, I don't really know, but all I know is I don't know what game Sansa's playing, and I don't know. I feel like we're going to see Sansa again, though. That is one character I don't think we're done with.
Yeah, Sansa's not good. Sansa has she's the new Littlefinger. She's trying to figure out the end game and how she can put herself in the best position.
I just don't know what her position is. I don't know if her position's still Northern Independence.
Essentially at this point, I believe it's just to secure the North.
Here's my guess. From everything we've seen with her over the last couple episodes, she hates Dany. She loves Jon. She wants Jon to be king. Because if Jon's king, then the North can be independent. I mean, I think she is plotting to overthrow Daenerys, is my take on Sansa. So I think, here's what I think. As far as characters we're never going to see again, I think any of the big main, if we see Sansa, that means we'll see Brienne. But I think that's about all we're going to see from the North. Maybe Sam again. Arya and the Hound, clearly we're going to see. They both go down to King's Landing together, both basically pledging that they're going to have some suicide missions.
Yeah.
They both don't plan on coming back from the unfinished business that they have, so we don't quite know what that is yet, but we can guess that the Hound wants to kill the Mountain, and Arya probably wants to kill Cersei.
Yeah, she's got to get that green eye.
So we'll see how that goes. But anyway, everyone, they go to the battle plans and they decide to go about their business. Sansa's basically trying to undermine Daenerys on every turn she can. Jon is completely sworn to Dany, literally the only person who has sworn allegiance to Dany. Well, I take it back. So he's got Missandei, we've got Grey Worm, and we've got the 2 dragons and Jon, and that is the only people really loyal to Dany anymore. Well, until they get to Dragonstone, where...
Well, they don't quite get the Dragonstone.
Okay, well, first they make a plan, inexplicably. Jon, you're not going to ride the dragon because he's been hurt. Instead, you're going to take all the... This isn't ominous, by the way. You're going to take all the northern forces and slow march them down to Dragonstone. And I'm going to take all the ships and the 2 dragons, and we're just going to fly there. But we're not going to send any kind of scouts or reconnaissance. We're not going to check for a trap. Even though we've been doing this for 6 months.
We're just going to assume that our biggest enemies that are left have just been sitting on their asses and, just drinking and just getting fat.
We're going to absolutely assume that they have done nothing. And even though we know they betrayed us, they were totally honored their word to not do anything.
Even though they've outsmarted us numerous times before, we're just going to assume that this time... they're
we're going to fly completely blind to home, and we're all of a sudden, oh God, Rhaegar gets hit with 15 arrows, And then finally you're like, oh, he'll be fine. One through the neck, and he crashes into the ocean. Now we're down to one dragon.
And there are no amount of chains that are going to pull him out of that water.
And then, Danny, because she's just full of rage, decides that, even though this, sneak attack killed Rhaegal with, a buttload of arrows, I'm going to just point right at the ships and fly right towards them. And why they didn't shoot her, I don't know, whatever. But then she decides to leave her entire fleet to get massacred by Euron.
And my main question, though, is...
why didn't she fly around to the back of the ships and just light them up?
They can kill a dragon that easily, right? They were never able to do this in the 300 previous years.
Well, they didn't have, what's his name? They didn't have that psycho maester.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Nobody knew how to make a crossbow.
I guess, but, I mean, whatever. I'll suspend that disbelief. They did make those crossbows pretty crazy. Like, when they started shooting them at the ships, they're just blowing the ships apart with those things.
Yeah, that part was pretty rad.
So, I mean, clearly their crossbow technology has taken leaps. I mean, they've done, an Apple job of advancing their tech.
Because he jumped off the ship into the water, and then that big, huge thing hit him in the head.
Yeah.
And, obviously... that was his fort. He obviously got a concussion from that.
Oh, God.
And I'm thinking that Dany really needs to have a concussion protocol.
Well, maybe that's why Tyrion's had so many mistakes as of late, is that he doesn't remember the last 3 years of his life because he's been concussed the whole time.
Yeah.
But, all joking of strategic blunders aside, because we did give him a pass last week, Dany is just racking up the L's again. Jon has no idea what's going on, but Dany in one swoop has lost one of her dragons. We find out that Melisandre is now in the hands of Cersei, and Dany decides to do another parlay with Cersei.
Yeah, what also kind of annoyed me about this whole thing is that the show is trying so hard to make things even.
They're trying to make things even, and they're really trying to turn Dany into the Mad Queen, right?
Yeah.
I keep thinking back to Olenna, was that Lady Olenna, Queen of Thorns, when she just was like, you're a dragon, be a dragon. I've known a lot of clever men in my life, and I've outlived them all. If she just would have listened to all her advisors when she first got to Westeros, she'd be on the Iron Throne as we speak. Yeah, she would have killed a bunch of people, but it seems like that's inevitable. Cersei is literally putting all 1 million residents of King's Landing in the main keep so that way Dany won't strife her with fire, which, considering she decides to cut the freaking head off of Melisandre in front of Dany, and Dany walks away, with literal fire coming out of her ears, I think is inevitable. Dany's going to light that place up.
But then it shows a shot of the walls with, a scorpion.
Okay.
Every 5 feet of walls, essentially.
It is a little comical how many scorpions they have.
Yeah. There's, a few hundred of them.
I mean, you said that they've worked so hard to make her and Cersei equal. Not even equal at this point. At this point, Drogon shouldn't be able to get anywhere within 1,000 yards of a wall. Which, brings me to the last point that I'm just like, what the hell? When Cersei, when they decide to try and talk Cersei into surrendering, they show up with a force of 50 people? What is that all about?
Why they only show up with such a tiny amount of people?
I don't know. And they were comically close to the wall.
We don't want to risk having a huge part of our army die, so let's just have 50 people and we'll take our leader.
But we'll take all our most important, outside of Jon, who they don't know is the king, the rightful king. Cersei could have just ran her arm. Okay, so let's just say that they were technically out of crossbow range. It would be ridiculous to put they would never be able to hear Cersei talk if they were 1 million miles away. So let's say they're out of crossbow range. Cersei could have still just ran her army out there and said, okay, can I get to them before Drogon can light us up with fire? It seemed a little ridiculous that last scene, how close she was. I mean, I don't know, maybe Cersei's just gloating and I know I'm going to kill you, so whatever. But, yeah, and then, dude, that was pretty crazy, though, when Melisandre, her last words were Dracarys. You're like, oh, jeez.
Yeah. And just...
God, and how fucked up is Game of Thrones? her whole life she was a slave. She was freed, and then at the end of her life, she died in chains.
Yeah, and she was so close to getting to that beach with Grey Worm, and they were going to sit Mai Tais.
The moment they said that they were going to go to the sail away, we knew that they were doomed. I think both of us thought Grey Worm would be the first one to fall.
Mm-hmm.
But now that Melisandre's dead, Grey Worm is absolutely going to die.
I think we're gonna see Grey Worm is gonna go like full Gaiku, and just like he's gonna be like.
I had a new theory. What if he wants to kill the Hound? What if we get like the Mountain? What if we get a Hound and Grey Worm versus the Mountain?
Ooh, that'd be great.
That'd be pretty cool. So,
you see my dog's foot sticking up?
I just see 2 feet in the air. What the hell's going on here?
He's laying on his back, and he wants me to rub his belly.
I can tell. It's kind of creepy. I'm not even going to lie. It's kind of like this weird pet me master that pet me. But, all joking aside, I thought this episode was pretty good for the most part. And, when it was done, yes, was I a little irritated with some of the leaps of logic that got 2 of our favorite characters killed with the dragon and Melisandre? Yeah, but then I realized this show really should just be called Stupid Morons Doing Idiotic Things that Get Everyone They Care About Killed. Because if you go all the way back to Catelyn Stark and Ned Stark, literally doing idiotic things that got themselves and everyone else killed.
Yeah, literally, don't let your people go to King's Landing.
I mean, Cersei, as smart as Cersei is, she gave the freaking the religious wackos power to like enslave the entire city. I mean, every one of these characters on this show has done idiotic things, absolutely mind-numbingly stupid, and that was even when they were basing it off of George R. R. Martin stuff. So it's not like it's just the showrunner's fault. Like, these characters live in a world where they just do dumb shit.
Yeah, Robb Stark.
Robb Stark. Yeah. I mean,
fall in love with some stupid rando girl.
They all do dumb things. Tywin did not recognize that his son was going to murder him because he just thought he could screw with him until the end of time, and then got shot on the shitter. I mean, this whole, Joffrey was like, I'm going to be a psychopath, and no one will do anything to me. Yeah, you died too. Like, everybody just does crazy, stupid things on this show, and so the fact that Dany didn't send a recon unit is perfectly normal. Because that's what she does. I mean, when she was in Marine, all the shit she did in Marine was just idiotic.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that.
I mean, think about every character on the show. Name one that's not stupid. They're all stupid. Stannis, idiot. They're all morons.
Maybe not Sam. I think Sam's already tried to make an educated decision.
Yeah, that's true. I like Sam. But I mean, I'm sure if you think back, you can find something he did that was real dumb.
Yeah, sure.
So, I mean, whatever. I'm not going to complain at the end that these characters do stupid things that get themselves killed. That's all any of these characters do. So, I mean, just, I don't know, enjoy it. Enjoy it. Guess what? We have 2 episodes. We have 1 giant reveal left that we're still supposed to get. And the showrunners guarantee are going to pull the rug out from underneath us and make us all wish we'd never watched the show before the end of it, because that is how Game of Thrones is going to end.
Yeah, that's the Game of Thrones that we all know and love.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be something bad. Dany's gonna get the throne, and then Cersei's gonna blow it up with Dragonfire, or Jon's gonna get to sit on the throne, and then Dany's gonna poison him, and he'll die, or something. You know what? Daenerys is gonna get the throne, kill Jon, and then Arya's gonna kill Daenerys. Something is gonna happen.
Gendry sits on the throne.
If Gendry sits on the throne, that is the only one that I'll just be like, I'm out. I'm done. All this was for nothing.
I think maybe somehow the Night King is still going to be involved. Maybe.
How about? Well, hey, that'd be a cool twist. Okay, how about Gendry? Is he done? So real quick, let's end this on what characters, instead of making predictions, because I have no freaking idea what's going to happen.
So next week it seems like we're supposed to have a battle at King's Landing.
Yeah. Well, this is being directed by Miguel Sapochnia, the same guy who did Battle of the Bastards,
So this is the guy that did Blackwater, Battle of the Bastards,
The Long Night, Hardhome. This is the guy who does the big action episode. So this is going to be
your battle fight.
This is going to be a battle, and then the last episode is going to be the final fallout and what happened. So So I don't even want to make predictions of what's going to happen. So let's just talk about what characters do we think are safe and are done. Like, do we think Gendry? Are we going to see Gendry again?
Yes.
Okay, and when I say see these characters again, I don't mean like in a passing, like, oh, he's hammering.
He's going to survive.
Okay, all right. So you want to do survivors? Okay, so Gendry. So we think Gendry. We may get a glimpse of him, but he's going to make it through. I agree. Sam, we already said. Tormund, Ghost. How about the dude, the Sir Royce of the Vale?
The who?
Royce, the guy who runs the Vale. Or how about Sweet Aaron from the Vale?
God, those guys haven't really been doing anything. And there's a shitload of them.
Yeah, they were there at the castle.
Yeah, they were at the whatever. We just never saw him. I guess he'll survive.
Okay, so how about the second sons? How about was it Doros?
Is there anybody left in the second son?
Yeah, I mean, she left him in Marine to rule Marine.
Oh, that's right. I guess.
I say the second sons are going to make a sneak appearance.
Like they came over to see.
All right, the Night King.
Night King. I think his character's dead, but his story, maybe there's still something.
We better see Bran, more of Bran. Bronn. Are we going to see any more of Bronn?
He said he's going to show up after the fight. He's either going to get River Run or he's going to get Highgarden.
Is he just gonna kill one of them? Okay, do we think Bronn's gonna live or die? I think Bronn's gonna die. I think he's gonna randomly die.
He's not gonna get anything that he wanted.
No, he's gonna die. He's gonna be betrayed by somebody and die. Podrick.
Who?
Podrick. Is Podrick gonna live or die?
Did he go south or did he stay in Winterfell with Brienne?
I don't know. Well, see, here's my theory. I think Brienne's gonna die, but Podrick's gonna live.
Yeah. I think Sansa's going to do something that gets Brienne killed.
Is Sansa going to live or die?
Sansa's going to live. She's going to control the North.
All right, how about Arya?
Arya's going to become murder capital.
I think Arya's a goner. I think the Hound and Arya are both going to die.
I think Arya's going to finish what she started, and then she's going to go back to Essos, and she's going to just be the person that trains the next one.
That's a good one. All right, what else? I don't want to guess on Tyrion, Jon, or Dany. We'll know more. I don't know. Sure, how about that? Let's just go through them all. Cersei, she's dead. Cersei's dead.
Yeah, Cersei's dead. Tyrion's going to die.
Jon, I'm changing my vote. Jon's going to die, and Dany, they're all going to die. I'm officially on board. They're all going to die.
His second death?
Jon is going to die again. They're all going to fucking die. You know what the greatest twist of Game of Thrones is going to be? That Jon's heritage, R plus L equals J, means fucking nothing in the grand scheme of things.
No, what's going to happen is everyone's going to die, and Sam's going to be the only legitimate lord left, and he's going to become king.
There's 30 people left alive in Westeros.
Yeah, there's there's none of the great houses are left except for the Starks, really.
Jaime definitely going to die.
Yeah.
I think Jaime could have a Romeo and Juliet. You know what? I was gonna bring up something. So in the prophecy, she says that when she chokes on her tears, isn't there a poison that has tears of something in the name of it?
I think so.
What if she poisons herself or Jaime? Or they? Oh, that's how Cersei's gonna go. She's gonna poison Jaime, and they're gonna die together.
Mm-hmm. She's gonna kill her baby.
What? She's not pregnant. She's a liar. All right, whatever. All right, well, I think that wraps it up, unless you got something else you want to talk about.
Yeah, we'll find out in just a short couple of days.
Yep, 2 episodes left. Next week, the title of the episode is Everyone Dies at the End, so that should be a real uplifting episode.
Giant meteor.
Dude, that's what's going to happen. Jon's going to sit on the throne with Dany, and a meteor is going to take out the whole freaking
The show's going to end with them zooming out until they go into outer space and you see the whole planet, and then you're going to see a meteor
coming right at it. That'd be great. Or they do the Men in Black thing where they're all living on a marble.
Yes.
Oh, they're going to zoom out and they're all living in the eye of a blue-eyed giant.
Ooh, that's a good one.
All right, man. I think that's all we got, unless you got something else. So we'd like to give our salute to Ghost. You did us proud, Ghost.
You need to melt him. Burn him up a little bit.
Melt his ear and burn his fur. All right, well, until next time, everybody, keep watching Game of Thrones. Don't give up. There's only 2 episodes left.
Yeah. And don't be a jerk on the internet.
Don't be so angry. Just
Yeah. We're sorry if all of your theories are wrong.
nothing. All my theories are wrong too.
Yeah, a lot of mine are. I don't even think I have any right.
I still have one that I can hold on to. Brand could still technically be the Lord of Light.
Yeah, you used to go. You can still hold on to that.
Holding on out to the bitter end.
Yeah.
Oh well. We'll see. We'll see who's right. We got 2 episodes left. Until next time, enjoy Game of Thrones. Have fun, and stay awesome, everybody.
Yeah, and stay nerdy.